can take career and life planning as freshmen. As they get older, I do offer a lot of classes for college credit. So that's something that they can be thinking about as they start in their high school process and in their enrollment process. I teach accounting, advanced accounting, principles of marketing, and I teach intro to business, all for college credit. And the awesome thing about that right now is that it's also being paid for by the state. We're not sure how much longer that will be happening, but currently the kids that are in my classes that are taking college credit are getting free college credit. So it's awesome for them to have that opportunity. I think that one of the most important classes that I teach is personal finance for freshmen and sophomores. I think that it is a life skills class. So they learn about checking accounts and savings, and we talk about credit and investing and budgeting. It's just great things that they need for their future. We also talk about insurance. So it's just a great class that they can have for their future. I'm also the FBLA sponsor, so Future Business Leaders of America. I know some of the 8th graders are in that this year, so that's something else that they can do in high school. I'm always willing to answer questions, so if anybody has questions about my program, you're more than welcome to call me or email me and ask me any kind of question that you might have. I think that's all, Ms. Walls, unless you want me to say anything else or.
No, that's great. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Lane? Okay. Well, like she said, we all have access to our emails. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Mr. Southard, or these teachers that are talking, and they can answer any questions that you may have about their classes. Oh, thank you, Ms. Lane, for putting in your
You're
email.
welcome.
All right, Joel, I'll let you just go ahead and jump in here next and talk.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mr. Wybarra. I teach debate forensics, also video productions, audio, video, college level speech, and digital media courses. Debate classes happen in the fall, and then forensic classes happen in the spring. Debate pretty much is straightforward. If your kid likes to argue, if they like to be right all the time, this is a great class for them. Really teach them the tools to really debate, with research and really kind of get out there and build that self-confidence in themselves and just really have fun researching and debating on a topic. Usually it's just one topic throughout the year, but we kind of add more to it. We kind of switch gears a little bit in the spring when we do forensics, and that is basically a lot of public speaking and theater. So if you have debate as well, so if you have students that love to be wild and crazy and just be theatrical and debate as well, forensics is their go-to. We go to hopefully in the fall, and we'll go to more in-persons, online right now for safety reasons, of course. But we'll hopefully get kind of a mixture in there, but we make the most out of it when we have, in-class practices, after school practices, things like that. So we always have a good time. I teach video productions, like I said, and audio video. Those are pretty much classes where they come in and take, video of projects. If they want to be the next YouTube star, that's the class for them. If you have a student that's very, who likes to be on the computer a lot and do a lot of editing, for YouTube or software, stuff like that, that's the class for them, and they always have a good time with that. I teach digital media, which is kind of the same thing, but we kind of dive more into like Photoshop, Illustrator, so they can do create all kinds of animations and stuff in digital media. So again, if you have any students that love to be on the computers, love video games, stuff like that, definitely could use them. I teach a speech class for college credit for Fort Scott Community College. Great idea for them if they're looking for a speech class. One last class I got to take in college, and it's probably about a good average 20 to 30 students usually in the class. So compared to college, which might be a whole auditorium, kind of helps them get one less class they have to take in college. So pretty much that is all that I teach at the high school. And if you have any questions for me, I'll put my email in the chat as well. So feel free to ask me questions about debate forensics or video productions.
Thank you. I do want to make mention, just because Ms. Lane and Joel have also both mentioned a couple of their classes. Typically, those classes that they are talking about for college credit are classes that we have students taking as juniors. So I'm going to mention our course description guide here in just a little bit once I give our teachers a chance to talk, and that will show you what classes are available for freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Ms. Moore, I saw you in here, so I'm going to have you just go ahead and jump on in here if you would like to go ahead and talk.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, hang on. I'm trying to get it to where you guys can see my lovely picture too, which is going to be scary. Wait for, oh God, there I am. Hi, everybody. I'm Allison Moore. I teach choir and I teach theater arts at the high school. As far as freshmen go, the choir that they would want to enroll in is concert choir. And typically I ask that kids take that for the entire school year if they would like to be eligible to audition for select choir. But of course they can just take it for one semester. In concert choir, we learn all sorts of different types of songs in different languages. They will be challenged to sing at least 4-part songs. Sometimes we do 6-part songs. We perform at our fall concert. We perform in the winter. We also perform at the state level in April. And then we have a spring concert at the end of the school year. Kids are also given the opportunity to try out for regionals and to have a chance to be part of these small ensemble groups that would possibly go to state as well. The other class that I teach is theater arts, and this year you are going to be required to get an application from me. So kids need to email me if they would like to take the class, and then they fill out the application, and then we follow up with an interview process. Because theater arts is actually considered to be a public speaking class, it is a speech class. So I'm really trying this year to limit my numbers so that I've got kids that I know will work hard to want to be in front of each other and want to feel more comfortable speaking. So that class involves a lot of, we do things with, basically it's an acting class that's also going to be learning about stagecraft, meaning that we do some set design, we do stuff with the High School Musical. A lot of that is involved with the designing costumes and thinking about all of the production element, as well as actually being a part of the musical itself. So those are my 2 classes that are offered for freshmen. If you guys have any questions, you can always call me. It's 837-1782, or I will try to figure out how to put my email at the bottom, but I don't know if I will, but I'll try.
You should be able to add it just in the chat.
Okay. Thank you. I'll try.
No. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Moore?
Shelley Whiting had one question in the chat that said,
Oh,
I was getting ready to answer that. So
Yeah.
Most of our elective classes for our freshmen do tend to be a semester long. There are a few that are a year-long. Orientation to early childhood, and Mr. Southard, you can jump in here if you can think of something that I'm forgetting. Orientation to early childhood would be one. We're getting ready to have Mr. Morgan talk to us, and his class is a year-long. Mr. Southard, can you think of any others that are year-long? Like Ms. Moore said, choir you can take for a semester or a year-long if you choose. Same with theater. Band, I guess, would be a year-long. Commitment.
Video productions can be for a year or semester.
Okay, there we go. So, but the majority of the electives for freshmen are just a semester long. All right, Mr. Morgan, I'm going to let you jump in here and talk to us about your ag classes.
Well, what a group. Looks like I've got a good group, 66 people. That's awesome. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Morgan, and I've been the ag education instructor at Lewisburg High School for about 38 years. And I hope tonight that I can explain a little bit about ag ed and how it can help you and your high school student, upcoming high school student, as they advance through high school and look at making post-high school decisions. While less than 2% of the United States workforce is involved in production ag, almost 25% of the United States workforce involved in some way in the food and fiber industry. And when you ask 7th and 8th graders, what do they want to do when they grow up? You get the good nurse and doctor and policeman, fireman, and all certainly worthy careers. But we've sent out a number of students from Lewisburg High School on to college and technical centers, doing many, many other types of careers in food processing companies, construction, engineering, grain marketing, product support, companies like Oscar Mayer, Hormel, John Deere, Bartle Grain, ADM. I know many of you don't live on a farm. You might live in the rural area. You might be in town. I think of Connor Duff, who lived in Overland Park. She drove to Lewisburg to be in ag class, went to K-State and majored in ag econ, and now works for a trucking firm determining logistics. Sam Hubbard lived in Leawood, drove down here to be an ag and be with her friends. Definitely, Sam was not an ag farm student. She went on to K-State to major in ag econ, now lives in Omaha and works for a Fortune 500 company in financial services as the commodity finance analyst. So I think of people like that. I think of the Buffington sisters. Paige Buffington is working on a physician's assistant through nursing program, and she's been accepted to a PA program. She was in ag all 4 years. She was a FFA president. And Andy Buffington, she works as a nurse at Children's Mercy. Last summer, I was at home at the farm, and she sent me a text at 2 in the morning. I didn't see it till 8 in the morning when I was eating breakfast. And she said, hey, old man, just sitting here at work, thinking about all the fun times I had in FFA. I want to thank you for pushing me into things that I knew nothing about. I know that I would not be where I am today without the things you have taught me. I'm a nurse at Children's Mercy Hospital. Thanks again. So it's things like that that I make me happy and proud that I can help students out. I've created a video for your 8th graders, and I would encourage you to find it. I will put my email out there, and I'll send it to you. That probably does a better job of explaining much of what we do in ag and in the FFA. I think I've had Mrs. Key's students, or girls, both Gracie and Abby. Mr. Reese's 3 kids were all on national teams. Mrs. Urban's daughter, Caitlin, was a FFA president a couple years ago and is at K-State majoring in ag econ. Hattie Harris, Mrs. McComb's daughter, was an excellent student, a 4-time winner at state competitions. Mrs. McIntyre, Brent O'Meara was her daughter, a 4-time winner at national competitions. We have a lot to offer at Lewisburg High School, and I'm proud of the Ag Ed program, and I encourage your student to think about agriculture education as part of their high school career. One thing I want you to consider is not only what class are going to help the student in the next 4 years, but what class are going to help the student in 6 years, 8 years in their lifetime. And I'm confident that I have something to offer the students. I'll give an example. The seniors, we just finished covering time value of money, mortgages, loans. We talked about credit scores, all those things. We started our taxes unit. I'm exposing them to what W-2, W-4s, 1040s, 1099s. They're all interested in those kind of things as they leave high school. And so these are things that, many things I cover their senior year, but we build on that through having your student enroll in Introduction to Ag Science as a freshman. And then we offer plant and animal science and advanced plant and animal science, horticulture. We have ag mechanics classes for those that want those kinds of things in the shop. So we have a lot to offer, and I hope that we come away with a positive frame of mind with agriculture education, and I hope to see your student enrolled. Again, I'll put my email there, and if you want to see that PowerPoint video I created a couple weeks ago that I sent out to your 8th grade students, I'll do that. Good luck with everybody, and stay warm.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. We appreciate it. So I think that's it. If I have any other high school teachers here that I have missed, please speak up now. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to forget you. Going what? Okay, it looks like we got everybody. I know a couple of our teachers were unable to make it with the weather and not having electricity and all of the fun stuff that's happening. Will they take 2 electives each semester then? So Chelsea, the answer to that is no. They will take 4. So I'll kind of just jump into the nitty-gritty stuff about enrollment. So when your students enroll as a freshman at Lewisburg High School, they'll enroll in 4 core, and those core will be English 100, PE, and then a math and a science. And this year they'll have a little bit more flexibility with the science than they've had in the past. So I'm just going to briefly explain that. I apologize. My daughter's trying to talk to me and distracting me from paying attention. So the math, Mr. Schrieffer will recommend them for one of 3 maths when they come in as a freshman. It will be pre-algebra, algebra 1, or geometry. And he'll give us those recommendations, and then we'll insert those into their schedule already. If they're going to be in geometry, then they can take biology. That's about the only time that we like them to take biology as a freshman, just because it does incorporate a lot of the math components. So if they're not going to be ready for geometry in math, then they would take either earth and space or environmental science next year as their sciences. So we will give them the option to choose which science they want to take. And then the math will be already put in their course request when we get there, as well as PE and English. From there, they have 4 electives that they can choose per semester. So like those year-long, like I was talking about, orientation to early childhood, that's going to put them in a year-long elective, but that's still just 1 per semester. So they need to choose 4 electives for the semester, and then 4 for second semester. Mr. Southard, if you want to jump in here. Also, I saw in the chat, what is auxiliary band elective? That is Jazzy Cats. So if they're planning on trying out for Jazzy Cats, then they would want to sign up for marching band auxiliary. That is only a semester-long class, so they would need to choose something else. And what I explained to the kids the other day, and Mr. Southard as well, is we gave them a 4-year plan of study, a course, just like a individual plan of study is what it's also called. Don't focus too much on the first semester, second semester for quite a few of those classes, because the computer generates their schedules according to all these equations and math that I don't even have the capability of figuring out. And so they will, the computer will put them in which semester class they need to go in. Is there a list of classes, Helen? Yes, there is. So I'm going to show you a couple places that you can find the courses.
Let me interrupt real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Southard.
When she asked if there's a list of classes, there is, but we don't really know what's being offered until we look at what your children choose. That's how we determine what's being offered, is the number of students that choose a particular elective. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I think, no, I'm just going to reiterate kind of what he's saying. What I mentioned earlier is we take all the course requests that we get, and then we use that to build our schedule. So we'll take the classes that they request and then build the schedule accordingly. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Southard?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you as and let you see a couple things. I hope it works. Maybe. Okay. Well, it is not working for me. There we go. Maybe I can get it to work. Can you guys see my screen right now, or is it not working? maybe?
Yeah,
I see
now
it
can
now.
see your screen now.
Okay, good. So on the USD 416 website under schools and Lewisburg High School, you can go to 2 different places. You can either go right here to student handbook and course description, or you can also go to our virtual office, which I'm just going to show you really fast, is the course description guide. And in that course description guide would be where you would be able to find the courses. And then we also sent home with your students a 4-year plan of study. I couldn't think of what I wanted to call it. A 4-year plan of study or an individual plan of study. And in the
Amy, you're muted now.
We're not the only ones that did it too. Start the video again? No.
No, now we can't hear you.
Mr. Southern.
I could just hear you. Now it's off again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, gotcha.
I apologize. I don't know what is going on. Just gotta love technology. So there was several questions in the chat, and I'm trying to get back to that. Where is it? I'm gonna stop sharing. There we go. So several people asked some questions. Is there a list, or is PE an elective credit or not? It is not. Part of the graduation requirements for students at Lewisburg High School is that they must complete a year of PE. So that is what we have them take as freshmen, and they automatically have to take that as a freshman. So it's not considered an elective. It's a required part of their graduation requirements. I'm going to move on to Stephanie's question, and then I can come back and answer any questions you might have. Social studies core class. We do not have a social studies core class for freshmen. I know that's been brought up a couple times by the students and by parents. We don't start social studies until their sophomore year, and then from sophomore, junior, and senior year, they take the required core social studies. So we start with world history in their sophomore year, U.S. history in their junior year, and then government in their senior year. And we don't allow them to take it early. So they do have to take that in that order as a sophomore, junior, and senior. Can you take both female athletic development and sports fitness? Great question, Mike. No, they can take female athletic development as freshmen, but not sports fitness. The only 2 PE electives that they can take as freshmen would be weights or female athletic development, because they'll already be enrolled in PE as a freshman anyway. Okay, so sorry, kind of just saw those questions and wanted to address those. Course description guide, as I mentioned, would be a great resource for you to go out and look at to see a better description of the courses and what they are. And then within there, you can also see the graduation requirements that they have to complete over 4 years. I can also email you if you'd like to see it. And I believe I have a place on our website of that 4-year plan. And we gave a copy to the students the other day of that 4-year plan of study. And it does list all the courses on the back as well. And it kind of lays out the required classes that they have to take as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And then it has room for them to add their electives. Mr. Southard, would you like to jump in here at all and add anything?
Yeah, after the girls.
I think you've covered everything. Just contact us if you have questions.
Yeah, and if you guys have questions, this is now the time to answer or ask any. Okay, so I'm going to just answer as I see in the chat, and then you can unmute yourself and ask also. Can you take a science class as an elective along with the core science? The short answer to that would be yes, you can. I would not encourage them to do that too much, just because then they would run out of possible science classes to take as they progress through their future years. But you certainly can take a science class. So earth and space biology, let's say. you could take both of those if they were in that geometry, as I mentioned, and then the earth and space would count as an elective. So that is an option, just not super encouraged, so that they don't run out of science courses to take. But the second one would be counted as an elective. Other questions? And like I said, feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. We will be going back in a couple weeks to the middle school, and we'll go to Mrs. Hesser's room, and we will do these course requests with them. So we asked the kids to try and write down their courses on that 4-year plan of study, and that way they'll have it written down, and when Mr. Southard and I go into the classroom into Mrs. Hesser's class, they'll kind of have an idea of what they're going to request. I would encourage them to at least try to do a couple, 2 to 3 alternates as well. You know, being a school our size, Lewisburg High School doesn't always have the option to get kids in all the classes they want. So if we have a lot of single sections, then it may not get them to schedule in 2 classes. They might be up against each other. And so then the computer takes one of their alternates and puts that in its place. Can you be in band and Jazzy Cats and debate? So, Mr. Southard,
Yes.
do you want to answer that?
Yes. Yeah, put those down as your electives and we'll try to make it work. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can step in here. I've had students enrolled in debate, forensics, band the same year, choir. I mean, they just pretty much take it all, but that is possible because with debate, they have their own schedule, and at debate we talk with the Jazzy Cats and the band people to make sure that the kids make it to their tournaments and then have time for their band and also dance stuff. So it's possible.
The only time it wouldn't be possible, and I don't, like I said, I don't want to get too involved in that discussion, but it's like if debate was at the same time, if it was scheduled at the same time as band, then I think what Joel would say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they could still be in debate. They just wouldn't take it as a class. They wouldn't get high school credit for it, but they could still be involved in debate.
And at this point, don't worry about that as you're putting down your electives. Write down what you want, and that helps us because if there's enough debate kids, there'll be 2 sections of it, and so there wouldn't be, you don't worry about it being up against band if there's 2 of them. So,
Madison, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here and answer the question. Is pre-algebra and algebra semester-long course? No, math is always going to be a year-long course until you get into the higher grade level of like a college algebra. So it's always going to require you to take it for a full year. Female athletic development is a semester. So that would be one that you could choose to take for all year if you so choose, or you could choose to take that for just a semester. It's totally up to you. It's along with weights, one of those that you can choose to take all year, or you can just take a semester. What else? I love questions. I don't want to hold you guys if you guys don't have anything else, but feel free to reach out to myself and Mr. Southard. We, that's what we're here for. We're here to answer any questions, and we just want to help anything we can do. Mr. Southard, do you want to explain TED Talks? Are you still here, Mr. Southard? It looks like he might have gotten off of here. Okay, so TED Talks is a new class that Miss Payton was going to teach. It ended up, it's one of those like what Mr. Southard was talking about, ended up not making. We just didn't have enough requests for it. And so it is where students will do like a TED Talk. They'll research something and then do a TED Talk. It's based on research, and it will be videoed, and it's educationally based, or it doesn't always have to be. it sounds like a really fun class. Can all your electives be in performing arts? They can, as we indicated to the kids over on Thursday. No, Cadence, honey, I'm sorry. I wouldn't encourage them to take too many art classes at once, just because again, those can run out very quickly. So I would encourage the kids to spread out the like the performing arts, the art classes over a little longer span. That's where that 4-year plan of study comes in really great play, because you can write out what classes you want to take over the 4 years and kind of look at that. Theater arts is either a semester or a year long. It's up to you. You can choose to take it for a semester or you can choose to take it for a year. And can students taking Spanish 2 this year take Spanish 3, because it currently does say that isn't for fresh. Jenny Yoder, great question. Prior to this year, I will need to change that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Prior to this year, we didn't have the opportunity for middle schoolers to take Spanish 2. And so they would not have been able to take Spanish 3 going in as a freshman, but they will be allowed to do that next year. So yes, that would be an option for them, and I will correct that when we're done here. Absolutely. Are there creative writing classes? Unfortunately, at this point, we do not have a creative writing for freshmen. It is only available for juniors and seniors. Trying to answer all your questions. I don't know if you also saw our forensics can also be count as a performing arts or that fine arts option. So if they take forensics, they can count that for a fine arts credit. What else? Does anybody else have any other questions? These have been great questions. I love them. What classes can't you take again after you take them? There are quite a few of those, actually. Art classes are typically ones that Mr. Burns doesn't like you to take again. So that would be a class that you couldn't take again. Like Mr. Morgan's classes while he's here. Intro to Ag would be your freshman year class, and then you would move on to like plant and animal, and then advanced plant and animal. So you wouldn't go back to intro to ag. I don't know, Mr. Morgan, are you still in here that you could answer that question? Have you ever had anybody that's wanted to take intro to ag as like a junior? Jim, are you still here?
Yeah. We've had students take intro to ag as a sophomore, junior, but we like it if they stay with their group, their age group. But certainly we've had students do that before, and it's worked out. So either way on that, but we would encourage them to enroll in intro to ag science as a freshman, and then move on up the ladder as we go. So yeah, that's how I'd answer that.
Great, thank you, Mr. Morgan. Jennifer, to answer your question, so band would be a part of their electives. It would also, so in the scheme of your, I don't know what time the liquor store closes, to be honest. Sorry, that was one of the questions. If anybody knows that, feel free to jump in here and answer that. In answer to your question, fine arts, the graduation requirements requires a full year of fine arts. So if a student takes band their freshman year, that would count as their fine arts credit. And then their sophomore year, when they took band, that would go toward their electives credit for graduation. So in the bigger picture of it all, it kind of counts toward both. But essentially you want to fulfill that fine arts credit first, and then thereafter you can count that in electives, if that makes sense. Any other questions before we go? So Jenny, I will, Jenny Yoder, if you're still in here, I will go fix that as soon as we get off of here so that they can enroll in Spanish 3. That will resolve that. And then I think that's it. Like I said, feel free to call us, email us. We are happy to help in whatever way and whatever questions you may have. And then our goal would be to get the students their schedules by late July, early August before they start school so that they'll be able to see what they're going to be taking next year. All right, well, I just want to thank everybody for showing up, for being here, and yeah, hopefully we have school tomorrow. I haven't heard anything differently. So if, like I said, let us know if you need anything. Thank you so much.